Bihari. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jai Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Brahma Supariraja Kachari Sutra Sutra Sisi Makinanda Zanzibaris A.C. Bhakti Srila Prabhupada Harina Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Can you turn down the echo and the volume? Thank you. Haribol. ¿Qué van a hacer? Haribol. When do you come? Just now. Okay, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Turn out the echo completely. Take the volume down a few notches, please.
Just the volume now. Just the volume is on.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Sounds better?
Yes.
A little bit. All right. Which verse?
Any verse. Any verse of
You
yours.
don't have a sequence.
We can do Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Eke Hakuna.
That is 4.
That is
11?
second chapter, 41.
241, yes. Something. All right. Reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, second chapter, contents of the Gita summarized. Text 41. Vyavasayatmika buddhir
Vyavasayatmika Buddhi
ekeha kurunandana
Ekeha Turunandana
bahushakayanantascha
Bahushakhayanantasya
buddhayo vyavasayina
Buddhayo Vyavasayinam Vyavasayatmika Buddhi
Vyavasayatmaka buddhi
Ekeha Kurunandana
ekeha kurunandana
Bahushakhayanantasya
Bahushakhayanantasya
Buddhayo Vyavasayinam
Buddhayo Vyavasayinam Vyavasayatmaka buddhi
Vyavasayatmika Buddhi
ekeha kurunandana
Ekeha Kurunandana
Bahusakhahi anantascha
Bahushakhayanantasya
Buddhayo Vyavasayinam
Buddhayo Vyavasayinam
Vyavasayatmika buddhi
Vyavasayatmika Buddhi
eke kurunandana
Ekeha Kurunandana
shakahayanantascha
Bahushakhayanantasya
buddhayo avasayinam.
Buddhayo Vyavasayinam.
Ladies.
Vyavasayatmika Buddhi Ekeha Kurunandana Bahushakhayanantasya Buddhayo Vyavasayinam.
241. 241. Vyavasaya Atmika.
Vyavasayatmika
Resolute in Krishna consciousness. Buddhi. Intelligence. Eka. Only one. Iha. In this world. Kurunandana. O beloved child of the Kurus. Bahushakaha. Having various branches. He. Indeed. Anantaha. Unlimited. Cha. Also. Buddhayaha. Intelligence. Avyavasayainam. Of those who are not in Krishna consciousness. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many branched.
Chapter 2.
Second chapter, text 41. Purport. A strong faith that by Krishna consciousness one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Vyavasayatmika intelligence. The Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya-lila, 22nd chapter, text 62 states, Shraddha Shabde Vishwash Kohe Sudri Danish Choi Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoy. Ami Jani. Faith means unflinching trust in something sublime. When one is engaged in the duties of Krishna consciousness, he need not act in relationship to the material world with obligations to family traditions, humanity, or nationality. Fruitive activities are the engagement of one's reactions from past good or bad deeds. When one is awake in Krishna consciousness, he need no longer endeavor for good results in his activities. When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, all activities are on the absolute plane, for they are no longer subject to dualities like good and bad. The highest perfection of Krishna consciousness is renunciation of the material conception of life. This state is automatically achieved by progressive Krishna consciousness. The resolute purpose of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. Vasudeva sarvam iti sa mahatma sudurlabhaha. A person in Krishna consciousness is the rare good soul who knows perfectly that Vasudeva or Krishna is the root of all manifested causes. As by watering the root of a tree, one automatically distributes water to the leaves and branches. So by acting in Krishna consciousness, one can render the highest service to everyone, namely self, family, society, country, humanity, etc. If Krishna is satisfied by one's actions, then everyone will be satisfied. Service in Krishna consciousness is, however, best practiced under the able guidance of a spiritual master, who is a bona fide representative of Krishna, who knows the nature of the student, and who can guide him to act in Krishna consciousness. As such, to be well versed in Krishna consciousness, one has to act firmly and obey the representative of Krishna. And one should accept the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master as one's mission in life. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur instructs us in his famous prayers for the spiritual master as follows. Yasya prasada bhagavat prasado, yasya prasada na katikutopi, dhyayam stuvams tasya yashastri sandhyam, vandhe guru sri charanaravindam. By satisfaction of the spiritual master, the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes satisfied. And by not satisfying the spiritual master, there is no chance of being promoted to the plane of Krishna consciousness. I should, therefore, meditate and pray for his mercy 3 times a day, and offer my respectful obeisances unto him, my spiritual master. The whole process, however, depends on perfect knowledge of the soul, beyond the conception of the body, not theoretically, but practically. When there is no longer a chance for sense gratification manifested in fruitive activities, one who is not firmly fixed in mind is diverted by various types of fruitive acts. Vyavasayatmika buddhi rekeha kurunandana bahushakena tascha budayo vyavasainam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. Om Ajnanatimarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishram Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gidamayam Dadhati Swapadantikam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langate girim yat kripadamaham vande Sri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyeshwaram Vanchakalpaturubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitano Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. We're very happy to be here at the lotus feet of Shri Radha Natabar, Sisi Jagannath Baladev Subhadra, Sisi Gauri Tai, Giriraj Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, and all the assembled Vaishnavas in this holy place. Wherever Krishna is being worshipped, this is a holy place. Right now we may not be able to go to Mayapur or Vrindavan or Puri or wherever our heart wants us to go. But Srila Prabhupada has created holy places all over the world. And that is the beauty of this Hare Krishna movement. One time Srila Prabhupada was asked when he came to America, "Sir, why have you come here? What is the purpose of your visit to this great country? Have you ever been faced by Border Patrol? And they interrogated you. And you went like, what is my purpose?" That is a very good question, sir. What is your motive? Because no motive, no case. The motive defines our course of activity. And Srila Prabhupada said, "I've come to give you a brain because you have no brain." So the reporter was probably a little surprised about Srila Prabhupada's answer. Srila Prabhupada said, "It's all Shudras. It's all just workers. Anyone who gets a paycheck is Shudra." And he said, all Shudras and a few Vaishyas in this great country of America. So everybody is a common laborer, and a few of them are businessmen, and they are trying to exploit and extort and manipulate. Not much above that. Not much conscious administrators, responsible, dutiful kshatriyas, what to speak of visionaries, guides, spiritual leaders, Brahmins. So Srila Prabhupada came to create a class of leaders amongst the folks that he found in whichever place he went. And because he saw the potential, he saw the inherent good in everyone, he created such a class by spreading this Hare Krishna movement all around the world. So here in this chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is summarizing the contents of the whole Bhagavad Gita. You will find all the different contents summarized. And here he is speaking about a person who is resolute in purpose and whose aim is one, as Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Buddhi is intelligence, and Vyavasayatmika Buddhi means to be resolute, to be determined, to be firmly fixed up in one's resolve, in one's intelligence. Often we are faced with many options, many opportunities, many different possibilities. Have you ever been in such a situation? Like, you cannot get a clear reading. Your Google Maps is just spinning its wheels, and there are seemingly endless options. And if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. So, yet to have a clear direction, a clear directive in life does not simply require a map, it also requires an expert guide, a spiritual master, who knows the nature of the student, what the student is capable of, how fast he or she can go, and in which way they should navigate. So to find such a spiritual master is the prerogative of a sincere student. Now, when you come to the Hare Krishna movement, we all accept Srila Prabhupada as our main guide and teacher because he has brought us these teachings and he has established these standards. And then, when we become conversant with the philosophy, then we can choose a spiritual guide, a spiritual teacher. But first you have to know what is Guru before you choose Guru. Just like you have to know what is a car before you go and buy one, right? Otherwise, they can sell you anything, which happens every every second of the day. A new sucker is born, and people are selling and buying substandard commodities because of a lack of knowledge, because of not being in the know. So people are professing to be so many things. A few days ago, I was in Dallas, or a few weeks ago, and I stepped into a store of an astrologer, and he had big fuzzy hair and beard and very glittery eyes, and he had a lot of cosmic pictures and a lot of deities and devas and sadhus and things and incense and lights, and everything was just very cosmogonal. And so we talked, and I asked him what he was doing, and he's from Bangalore. He said he never went to school. He learned from his dad and his granddad, and they have been Jyotish, and he's a Jyotish. He's doing astrology, and he's trying to help people. And I asked him point blank, how much can you actually help people? You can't even help yourself. It's only God, it's only Krishna who can help people. So unless you give them the real thing, how much are you going to help? And I told him that you should give books to the people, because they will forget whatever you told them. They will just pick whatever they like, and the rest they will hear. They will not hear. They will blend it out. Like children, right? You tell them something, and they only hear what they want, right? And the rest, they just blank it out. So, I said you should give them books. You're taking their money, and you're not really giving them the best thing. So he agreed, because he was a sincere person. He went to Gurukul, so he knew a few things. So he said, yes, I need books. So I said, how many books do you need? He said, I need a lot of books. I said, I have a truck outside. How much is a lot? So I went and got a few boxes and filled one table with books. And then he asked me, well, how much do you need? How much do you have to pay? And I said, well, you do seva, I do seva. I give everything I can, you give everything you can, When people ask you, how much is this? And of course, here it says $20, but actually this is priceless. Because we're not selling books, we're selling an opportunity. You see, opportunity is priceless. The opportunity of going back home, back to God, it is priceless. So then the next scene of that story is like from a dream, or from the wishful thinking of any Sankirtan devotee, that you give people a lot of books. And then he just opened his drawer, and he reached inside, and he pulled out a stack of cash, and he just handed it to me without counting. And I went to the car, I got him Mahaprasadam and garland and whatever else I had. And then when I got home and I counted, it was $730. So the point I'm making is that we're not selling people food or books or a place to stay. We're giving people an opportunity to engage in devotional service. And that is Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Because that will help people to bring their mind, which right now is Bahushaka. Bahushaka means very many branched, all over the place. I ask everybody who I meet, how's the mind? Are you mindful or mindless? Where's your mind right now? Are you here or are you everywhere? Are you thinking about your chores, about your duties, about this, that, and the other thing? Or are you really present and focused? So the art of Krishna consciousness helps us to have undivided attention, which is required because our attention is not so great. Our attention is quite small. So if we branch it out, something that's not very great, and we split it up into many, then it becomes even less. So very feeble, very easily diverted, very easily distracted. We have the weapons of mass distraction. They're hiring psychologists and therapists and PhDs to program these devices so that the ringtone will exactly stimulate that portion of your brain which makes you crave and want to answer that call, that message. Did you know that? They're paying people six figures just so they can manipulate your many-branched mind. But we want to be vyavasayatmika buddhi. We want to be focused in our resolve, in our purpose. And that requires, as Srila Prabhupada puts it here very clearly, that requires that we have to abstain from the seemingly endless opportunities for sense gratification. In this great country, sense gratification is easily available in every place. Wherever you look, there is something that says, buy me, eat me, drink me, watch me, click me, give me some attention, give me some love. It is unending. Yet a devotee, a person who has chosen to practice bhakti, devotional service, has consciously withdrawn their senses, just like a tortoise. Have you ever seen a tortoise? When there's danger, then it retracts its limbs into the shell, and then when danger is over, it again manifests the limbs and moves on. So in a similar way, a yogi or a devotee has full capacity over their sensory potency, but they can retract the senses or they can manifest the senses, depending on the need and the situation. So it's not that through devotional service you will become emotionless, you will become senseless, or you will become desensitized. No, quite the contrary. You will develop your spiritual senses where you can experience and enjoy spiritual pleasure, which is unlimited, which is manifold, many times greater than what this material body can experience. How many chapatis can you eat?
4 or 5.
4 or 5. You're a fairly young man. Older men would say 1 or 2.
Yeah, 1 or 2.
1 or 2, right? Very young man may say unlimited, right? Unlimited. But very soon, you will also face the reality of life. You know that you become old when you walk into a room and you look, where is a chair? Where can I sit down? That means you have gotten old. You're not anymore go, 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 run, run, run. It's like, okay, shanti, shanti, dire, dire. Let's slow down, not go too fast here. So, this body is limited. It's very limited. When you want to become a doctor, as some of you might do, you have to study books this big. And you know what these books contain? All the possible diseases that you can get. All the things that can go wrong with this body. Thick books. How much pleasure can you experience in this body? When you're okay, you usually fall asleep. Do you notice? When you're fine, you usually fall asleep. So, this body is obviously not made for sense gratification. It is made for self-realization. It is made for atato brahma jigyasa, to inquire, what is my nature? What is my purpose? Why am I here? What is my mission in life? And because people have forgotten about their true purpose, their true mission, their true goal of life, they're left wanting. They're feeling dissatisfied. They're feeling frustrated. They're feeling angry and exploited to a great extent. I was in the great city of Cleveland, Ohio today, and in the great institution of the Walmart Supercenter, I met many people who are claiming to be very spiritual. of all kinds of denominations. And one lady told me about the angry God, the God that's angry right now. And I was just smiling, because why would God be angry? Why would he be upset when his children are just being punk kids? He knows one day they will grow up. It may take a while, but one day they will grow up. So the image of an angry God, or the image of a God that has gone away disappointed because things went out of hand, is not so much relevant in our understanding. But when you show people the picture of Krishna, Shyama Sundar, Murlidhar, playing a flute, dancing, people realize, yeah, this should be God. God should be playing a flute and dancing. That makes sense. That makes very much sense. Because God has got nothing to do except enjoy with his loving friends and associates. So, how to bring our many-branched mind into Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Srila Prabhupada oftentimes quoted this purport that he's quoting here from Vishwanath Chakravarti Pad about Yasya Prasada Bhagava Prasado, that if you focus your life in satisfying the desire, the mission of the spiritual master, then you will achieve the perfection in life. But if you do not have a guide, if you do not have a teacher that you can feel accountable to, then you're just another boat without a rudder. Now the rudder may seem a seemingly small part of the boat, but if it's missing, the boat is going nowhere. It's just out there at sea, tossing and turning at the whims of destiny. In a similar way, Jiva Goswami Pad says that the tongue is also like the rudder. Depending on how we vibrate our tongue, that's the direction our life will take. Whatever sound vibration that we vibrate, that will determine our destination. So if you don't like the way your life is going, improve the sound vibration that is coming from your mouth. In the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, text 15, Krishna tells Arjuna about the austerity of speech. Anvegakaram vakyam satyam priyam hitam chayat swadhyaya vyasanam chaiva tanman manasam uchate. That the austerity of speech is in speaking things that are truthful, pleasing, not offending others, and are in relation to the Vedic wisdom. So, if we can learn to do that, then our life will have a more progressive path. And how do we do that? By daily reciting Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. It is also stated in the Bhagavatam, Yatradhyante katam rishtas trishnayo prashamoyata nirvairam yatra bhuteshu nodvego yatra kaschana. That wherever and whenever people gather and hear Gita and Bhagavatam, at that moment there will be no fear, no anxiety, no material hankering. That's pretty good, don't you think? It's a pretty good start. Have you ever been fearful? Have you ever been in anxiety? Or is it just me? Today there was a lot of state troopers out there. There was a lot of cops out there, man. A lot of them. And every time you're like, oh, am I going too fast? There's always some anxiety, right? Always some anxiety. But when you hear the Bhagavatam, at that place, at that moment, at that time, you'll be free from anxiety, free from fear, and from material hankerings. That's pretty good. That's a good start in the day. Did you know that 70% of the people check their messages in bed before they even go to the bathroom? I don't know if any of you belong to those 70%, but as a humble suggestion, do yourself a favor. Leave your weapons of mass distractions in sleep mode till you complete your japa. And you have to go out and face the world. Before that, vyavasayatmika buddhi, one-pointed intelligence. Not get up and get on the monkey machine and start pushing buttons. Because that's not a life. Huh? Who owns your life? Mark Zuckerberg? The University of YouTube? Our friends over in Google Town, Mountain View? Who owns your life? Do we own it or do they own it?
Oh, Krishna.
Krishna, yes. So reclaim your life and spend time with Krishna. Quality time. At least every morning. Have some sanity before you go out into the madness and do what you have to do on the battlefield of life. Arjuna had to be very focused because he had a big task at hand. He had a big job. They were outnumbered. How much was it? How many Okshahinis?
7 to 11. 7 to 11.
7 to 11, huh? 4 more. So, from a material perspective, not a very good odd. But Arjuna was very focused. When he heard the instructions of Krishna, he became completely aligned with Krishna's desire. And he went out and he fought the war, and he won in 18 days. Srila Prabhupada said that Krishna, in a similar way, can give you the world in 18 days. But what would you do with it? We can't even manage a small little house. Huh? It's hard. It's hard. Just keep it up. Just maintenance, garden and plumbing and bathroom and washing machine and this and that, and stuff breaks and stuff goes missing. And it's tremendous. Looking after the Lord's worship. It's a big endeavor. So, the name of the game is Sankirtan. It's a team sport. It's a team effort. One person can't do it. So we're very grateful for all of your help, all of your support, and for being who you are and doing what you do. Because this place wouldn't be here without all of you. It's the devotees that make it special. That's why we should do everything we can to help devotees be vyavasayatmika buddhi. And the best thing you can do to help them is to study Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam together with them. Because that will help them to be vyavasayatmika buddhi. Bahushaka, everybody can manage on their own. Being distracted, you don't need a teacher. You don't need a guru. You can just go wild and crazy. It's been done before. But if you want to be focused, single-minded, resolute in purpose, we need good association. A few days ago, I had the good fortune to be in Stuyvesant Falls, where Srila Satsvarupa Maharaj lives, and had lunch with Srila Prabhu. And he told me something from Srila Prabhupada that I wanted to share with you. Srila Prabhupada often stressed the points that we should be enthusiastic. In fact, Srila Rupa Goswami in his Upadeshamrita says, Utsahan Nishchayad Haryat Tattat Karma Pravartana Sangotyaga Sato Vrite Satyir Bhakti Prasidati. The first quality that he mentions that actually enhances your bhakti, your spiritual life, is utsaha. Like utsava, utsaha. Enthusiasm, to be enthusiastic. It means entheos in Latin. It means to be possessed or divinely inspired by God. And then the second quality, patience. Because things do not go according to your time scale. Have you ever noticed that things don't go according to your time scale? Let's face it, 2021 is another weird year, right? This stuff is just not moving the way we want things to move, right? Does it happen to you, or is it just me? Everyone, right? Yeah, so Krishna has his own time scale. And the third quality, firm conviction of ultimate success. To be fully convinced that ultimately, if I follow this process, I will be successful. Why? Why can we be firmly convinced about that? Because so many have achieved perfection by following this path. So the guarantee is given by our acharyas, and we should have faith. We should have faith. Not blind faith, but faith based on Shastra, faith based on experience. So these are some of the reflections on this verse, very famous verse of the Bhagavad Gita. If you want to learn a shloka, 241, 241, 241, okay? Few of you know, few of you have maybe heard of it, but if you want to learn a shloka, there's a good one to learn. Any questions or comments? How long do you normally go? 8 o'clock? Huh?
Yeah, about 8 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay, so we got some time for questions, comments, reflections. Yes.
So, Prabhu, you mentioned that in order to be fixed in mind, we should take association.
Yes, devotee association.
Devotee association.
And not to watch cricket or, Hollywood movies, but to actually read Gita and Bhagavatam,
Yes. So devotee association now, it's not for at least some of us, including myself, it's not possible to have devotee association at least the 16 or like whatever hours I'm awake, in the morning or during work or during.
It's always available. 24/7. You just pick up Bhagavad Gita, you read Prabhupada's purports, you have devotee association, pure devotee association is right there. These purports are Prabhupada's devotional ecstasies. He stayed up every night to write these purports, just for us. So just pick up a book. Now, of course, the mind says, nah, why would I do that, I already know this stuff, right? This ever happened to you? That the mind says, I already know. When these 3 words come up, then all learning stops. This is the end of learning. So do yourself a favor and become a more inquisitive mind, which means discipulus, means that we have conscious control over lifestyle. Whenever our mind tries to cheat us and tell us something that will compromise our ability to focus, to pay attention, to actually appreciate, then we should take off the non-cooperation agreement and say, my dear mind, you have given me many bad advices and I no longer follow your directives. So the mind always gives excuses like, there is no devotees where I am, or there's just not enough hours in the day, I just don't have time for this. Do inventory. Write down how many hours do you spend every day with fluff, just wasting time. How many hours on the phone, on the internet, just, spacing out. So become more focused. You got a lot of books to read. You got a lot of study to do. You got a lot of ground to cover on our journey, going back home, back to God. If you spend your time wisely, then Krishna is time. But if you're trying to kill time till time kills us, then it will just be over in a flash. You may not be able to be at the temple too often. Yes, that's a fact. But now the temple is in your home. You have a full set of Bhagavatams and Chaitanya Charitamrita. You got DVDs in your home. You read them, you worship them by reading them. You share their message with others. In this way you become dear to Krishna. And if you like, you can also hear Katha or watch classes online. But honestly speaking, I enjoy the offline experience. Just by seeing all of you, I become exceedingly happy. Like I see Prabhu, I feel like I'm in my home. So, you don't get that bhav from, pushing buttons on a phone. It just doesn't work that way. So, find a few like-minded individuals, read with them, chant with them, discuss, and help each other to advance in Krishna consciousness. And Krishna will help you. Because wherever devotees get together, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantas chadradavrata namashyantas chamam bhakti nityokto pasate. Krishna manifests in that sangha, in that association. That is satsang. That is truthful association. So, use your time wisely. And I know you're young and, it's the world of unlimited options and opportunities. And the mind thinks, wow, let's try it all. And after a while, it becomes all pretty dull and boring. So, don't wreck yourself in this great country of sense gratification and endless distractions. Stay focused. Don't lose your sense of purpose, your sense of identity, and your goal. Or else you're just another hamster in the wheel. You're just another cog in the machine. Now people come to this country for different reasons. Some are economic refugees, some are political refugees, some are just desperate, trying to get ahead in life. But the best that this country has got to offer is Krishna consciousness. So, if you understand that and are convinced about that, then you won't be fazed by all the noise and all the sights that are passing by your mental screen. Otherwise, Abrahma Bhuvana Loka Punaravartino Arjuna Mamupete Dukamte Punarjanmana Vidite. You go up and down, like in a merry-go-round, It's just endless cycle. Other questions? Yes?
Prabhu, you told about austerity of speech.
Yes.
And then Prabhupada recommends in Nectar instruction that in order to do that, we could speak about Krishna consciousness. But many times we talk to people whom we can't talk about Krishna consciousness, like non-devotees or even in the school, in the college. So there's a lot of distraction because of that. So how could we deal with that? Do we just...
When you're in the marketplace, you just have to do the market talk. You see, association only takes place tadati pratigrinati guyamakyati prichyati bhumte bhujayate chaiva sadvidim priti lakshanam. Unless you inquire intimately and you give counsel, you give gifts and receive gifts, you share prasad and you receive prasad. It's not technically called intimate association. It's just official dealings, It's just you're in the job or you're in the school and it's just your duty, you do your task, okay? But the tushyanti charamanticha, the sharing of the heart and the intimate discussion happens with like-minded individuals. Svajatiya, persons of your kind, persons of your taste. So don't confuse, don't mix things up. We have duties in this world, and we have to be dutiful, whether you study or you work or you have a position. Yet we also have to understand that These are duties that come, they're related to my body and my situation in life. Yet I also have a spiritual duty. And I also have a spiritual calling that I must honor and follow. Otherwise, I will not be successful in my purpose. But don't confuse the two. People come up with this, work is worship, okay? So more work, more worship, right? You've heard this philosophy before?
Yeah.
Huh? Very popular, right? Like every boss preaches that philosophy, right? He says, more work, more worship. Huh? I'll give you a lot of worship today. More work. And also, they love the other one, sarva dharmam parityaja. Like, give up all dharmas. Give up all duties, all regulations. But then the next part they forget. What's the next part?
Mamekam
Mamekam sharanam vraja. And surrender everything unto me. That they're not so sure about. So now, how to find that balance? Requires maturity. Requires good association, sincerity. So choose your association wisely with people that can actually inspire you and make you thrive in your spiritual life. That choice is always there. Choice is always there. Doesn't mean that I will neglect or disown or avoid. No, it just means I know how to navigate. I'm not naive. I know what's good for me, what I truly need. Other questions? Any question, any topic? Yeah.
Instead of you suggested that in recess time at work you do work in that, but I found that chanting is more relaxing.
Whatever works for you. You can chant, you can read, you can pray, you can listen to bhajan. Whatever works for you. You can also go for a walk in nature, like be with nature, be with the trees, hear some birds, realize I'm a normal person. I'm not just some idiot who punches numbers, It's good and important to get out into nature every day. Are you doing that? Of course you got plenty of nature here in Ohio. But sometimes people forget. They're just caught in the rat race, caught in the big city groove, trying to go somewhere, do something. Just every day, take time out. Instead of driving around, just go for a walk. The world looks much different when you go on a walk. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he walked all over India. So, it's a good thing. Parikrama. Just walk. And you'll notice how Krishna is present in all his different aspects. And he's there, teaching us, guiding us. Other questions? Comments?
You mentioned that look at the nature, and in point 41, Krishna says that whenever you see opulences, think it's a Mamate Janasham. So you can think those are opulences.
Thank you.
Gift of Krishna.
Yes. Yat yat vibhutivat sattvam shrimad udiktameva va tattadeva vativat sattvam mama prenjom asambhava. All is just a little spark of my splendor. So whenever you see something beautiful, don't just get excited and enamored by it. And think, ooh. Think, how beautiful is the Creator? Where is this coming from? Who has made this? Then you can truly see the connection. Other points?
You were mentioning about austerity of speech.
Yes.
Sometimes it's a challenge to speak truthfully and pleasing and beneficial, all these different aspects of austerity of speech. So, because sometimes if you tell the truth, that Krishna is God, the demigods are not, and then some people may not like to hear that. So there is, or if I'm attached to something and if we say, oh, it's not the right thing, then they get, so it is not agitating to others. But if you say like that, if somebody's eating meat and somehow we tell them about
If you try to please the world, you will realize that it's not possible to do that. Always somebody will object. You know the story of the father and the son who went to buy a horse? You know that story, right?
and tell them.
They went, they bought a horse, they came back. First, father was riding on the horse, son was walking. People objected. Next village, the other way around, they objected. Both were up, they objected. Then both walked. And they said, how stupid, they got a horse and they're not riding it. So, no matter what you do, someone's going to object, okay? So you might as well do the right thing and somebody will object. Is that a problem? No, not really. In other words, we have to know what we should be doing. That doesn't mean that we are insensitive, indifferent, obscure, unrelatable. No. We try to be compassionate and kind and relevant to people's concerns and ideas. At the same time, we should not compromise our philosophy and our standards just to try to please the world. Because otherwise, you'll end up dancing naked on the table, and that will do no good to no one. So, how to find out? How to find that language, that voice, in order to actually touch people's hearts? It is only possible when we see that Krishna is in the heart of each and every living entity. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hrideshirjam tishtati paramayan sarvabhutaniyam sarvabhutanimaya. And Krishna is there as the Paramatma. Now what is he doing? Upadrashtanumantascha bharta bhokta maheshwara paramatmiki chapyukto deismi bhusha. He's giving that sanction. He's giving knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So when you cooperate with Krishna, which is in the heart of every living entity, people will notice and they will respond because Krishna tells them to respond. Few years ago, I was in Rishikesh and there was a yoga festival going on, and we were doing Nagar Sankirtan and distributing books. So I went up to a middle-aged man and I showed him Bhagavad Gita. And he said, look, I'm a yoga teacher from Ukraine. I know this. You know when people say, I know this, kind of like back off, like it's all good, back off. And you know that if you say one more word, he will drop it and it will be no. So, but he was still friendly and he was looking at the book. So I saw like, there's some chance there. It's not all bad. So I just backed off and I was just praying in my heart of heart. What do you do when you don't know what to do?
Pray.
Yeah, it's the only thing you can do, right? Huh? So I said a little prayer. I said, Krishna, if I've ever been a good boy, if I've ever chanted your name, please, now is a good time. Please give him the mercy because he needs it. He's a little proud right now, but he's a yoga teacher. He can maybe reach a few students. So it would be good if he gets this book. And after a couple of moments, he looked at me and said, I feel love coming from your heart. How much is this book? Now, this is not San Francisco, So, when we are sincerely praying to Guru and Krishna to empower us, to give us the right words, to give us the right intelligence, to give us the right attitude, people will be affected. They will respond favorably. Because Krishna is there in their hearts. And he will tell them ticket. And sometimes it's funny, you can see this dialogue going back and forth. The mind says no, and Paramatma says yes. The mind says no, Paramatma says yes. And he goes back and forth, back and forth. Guess who's winning? Well, Paramatma always wins, but it depends on how pure our desire is. Sometimes Paramatma says, sometimes people look at the book and they look at you and they look at the book and they look at you. And if the two don't match, they give it back. Because here it says Hare Krishna, but here I don't see Hare Krishna, so no go. Sometimes they even have their money out and then are you for sure? Are you real? You're not trying to jam me here? You're not trying to, just cheat me? So how would they know? Krishna's in their heart. Krishna's in their heart. And that's why we have to accept Guru. We have to find a teacher who can be our guide, who can help us grow and overcome our shortcomings, our deficiencies, our insecurities. Because books are great, but books won't tell you, hey, snap out of it, Jeev Java, get off the phone, get on with your japa. But good peer association can do that. Your spiritual teacher, they can do that. But it is our own choice. How do we navigate and how do we surround ourselves? Yes, it works, even just with the books and the japa, but it will take a very long time. And still the mind can cheat us. How many people walk through this door and they think, I know it all? Have you ever met a person like that? Have you ever thought like that? It's quite possible. Just because we read a few things and we know a few things. But our ability to know and to experience is very limited. Because our faculties are very limited. Although our Atma, our soul, is unlimited, but because we're tiny, our ability to know is small. Therefore, we're very fortunate that we have Guru Parampara. We have disciplic succession. We don't have to just shop around in the supermarket of spirituality and pick up a few items that fancy our attention. But we can take the guidance of Krishna, who is the supreme teacher, and he's showing here to Arjuna how to be firmly fixed up. Vyavasayatmika buddhi. One pointed attention. And yes, you can use that also in your business, in your studies, in whatever else you want to do, and become great at it. As we see nowadays, all our South Indian Brahmins are doing pretty well in technology and coding. And everyone is using their punya just to make a few bucks. But we can also use it for devotional service. That is the real use. And the rest, whatever occupation you may have, that is fine. Do that too. But understand that it's all Krishna's gift. And as he's given it, he can also take it away. You always see accidents, you always see people with canes or in wheelchairs, and you think, oh, it's always the other guy. It's never going to be me. But the death rate is still 100%. Last time you checked, right? What's the death rate here in Columbus?
100%.
Approximately, right? Yeah.
100% right.
Yeah. So we're only here for a very short time. Let's use this time and help each other to be Krishna conscious. As you may have noticed, you got every demographic here. The whole world's here. Are we ready for them? I doubt it. I doubt it. So it's time to do our homework. So that anybody who walks in this door, the only question on their mind will be, how can I be like you? How can I be part of this? This is not just for the Telugus or for the Gujus or for the Banglas or for the this or that. This is the spiritual revolution. It's supposed to be available for everybody. African Americans are the most interested demographic right now in this country. Very interested, very sincere in looking towards spiritual life. Are we ready for that? I doubt it. What can we do to be more visible, more relevant, more attractive, more authentic, so that people actually feel, yeah, hey, I can do this too, you know? This is not just for a few, select few, you know, who speak a secret language and know some secret handshakes, you know, and some cool little ritual. But this is for everybody. I was just a little punk kid who went to school in the Swiss Alps, and in 9th grade I found Gita in my library. My friend became a devotee, he invited me. So, if I can do it, anybody can do it. That was in 1984. It's been a while. So time goes fast. Use it wisely. And make a difference. Go out, help people, give them prasad, give them books, tell them about Krishna, chant Hare Krishna. And you will see, people will appreciate. Because when you glorify Krishna, everybody becomes attracted, because Krishna is all attractive. It's like when you water the root of the tree, all the leaves, branches, and fruits get nourished. So when you give food to the stomach, all the limbs get nourished and satisfied. When you glorify and satisfy Krishna, everybody becomes pleased and attracted. So thank you for keeping this oasis going and expanding it. I've seen you have got big plans, but it's not about big buildings. It's about creating a community, creating an environment where people can grow and flourish. We have enough churches in this great country. Have you noticed? Every street corner has one. Mostly they're busy for about an hour every Sunday. There's a lot of museums, there's a lot of great structures and architecture. But what people are really looking for is vibrant communities of people who are working together to achieve a common goal. That's really attractive and interesting. If you have been to Florence and to Rome, Venice, buildings, but people who have managed to lower their own expectations and ideas for the sake of sacrificing for a common goal and a mission that can truly accommodate and embrace the world. That is quite spectacular. I met one lady, she's Southern Baptist. I asked her if they are rocking out, if they're doing the gospel. And she said, yeah, we're doing it. We're kicking it hard. And I asked her if they're still hating the Northern Baptists. And she said, yeah, that's a problem. We're still working on that one. So as you can see, everyone's got their homework to do. Everyone's got their issues. But we can learn from others. We can get inspired, and we can also see what is it that we maybe should not do, so we don't end up in that situation. So that's why Krishna, as the original teacher, is giving us the different options. He's telling us, if you do this, this will happen. You do that, that will happen. You do that, that will happen. But if you want to follow my advice, then this will happen. So now, make up your mind and go do it. And if it's not clear, I'll explain the whole thing again to you. No problem. That's a perfect teacher. Detached, dispassionate, but deliberate. Srila Prabhupada was unconditionally loving and kind. At the same time, he was supremely detached. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.